Mark Hill from Greenleaves. So, can you spot the odd ones out? Allen and Deeside, Barrow and Furness, Birmingham Edgbaston, Birmingham Northfield, Bishop Auckland, Blackpool South, Brentford and Isleworth, Bridgend, Bristol East, Chester, Coventry South, Darlington, Delin, Dewsbury, Ealing Central, Enfield North, Gedling, Halifax, Hampstead, Hartlepool, Hove, Ilford North, Lancaster and Fleetwood, Middlesbrough South, Newcastle under Lyme, Newport West, North East Derbyshire, Scunthorpe, Southampton Test, Stoke-on-Trent South, Wakefield, Walsall North, Wirral West, Wolverhampton South West and Wrexham. Now, these were seats that were all held by Labour in the 2015 general election and subject to a very large UKIP vote, which was larger than the majority by which they were held by Labour. So they were thought in the 2017 election to be vulnerable to the Conservatives because UKIP scarcely stood in 2017. In many of these seats it didn't stand a candidate in spite of the strong vote showing, which was frequently 6,000-7,000, and in one or two cases it was into tens of thousands. But their strong vote in the 2015 election, the UKIP didn't even stand in some of these seats, and in most of the others it ran a very poor campaign. So having achieved a third place in the 2015 election, it went from hero to zero in the 2017 election. As a result of this, everybody thought, or there was large speculation to say, well, these are going to be Tory gains for Theresa May's new revamped strong and stable leadership Conservative Party. After all, they had the courage to offer the British people the EU referendum in 2016. Conservatives are bound to take these seats. Low majorities. So, have you managed to spot the odd ones out yet? Out of the 30 odd seats which I just read out, there are 4 odd ones out. They are Middlesbrough South, North East Derbyshire, Stoke-on-Trent South and Walsall North. Now those were the only 4 seats out of that 30 targets that actually went to the Conservatives. Conservatives ran strong campaigns, but the diminution, or in some cases elimination, of the UKIP vote didn't benefit them. In fact, in the majority of these seats, the majority for the Labour Party in fact increased between 2015 and 2017. So many of these seats are no longer really marginal, certainly some of them. UKIP's vote essentially went home. It went home to the Labour Party. And this is the thing that many people who are campaigning for Remain just do not get. That the spectrum left to right doesn't work on the question of the EU. In many cases, particularly outside London, the UKIP vote, and now the Brexit Party vote that is going to succeed it, is basically a centre-left vote. It's a vote for redistribution. It's a vote for investment. It's a vote against austerity. It's a vote, in other words, for the sort of things that Labour was offering and the Tories were not offering in the 2017 election. So it went back home. And the majority of these seats, the Labour majority, increased. The Tories did make some gains. They made 4 gains out of this list. But that did not offset the losses that they made elsewhere, losing quite heavily Remain seats in London, Canterbury, say, certain other parts of the country. And because of those heavy losses, despite the limited number of gains that they took off leave voting Labour areas, and despite the gains they made in Scotland, ultimately the overall number of Tory MPs fell. And as a result, 2017 election has never been, it was not conclusive. It did not deliver a Leave voting parliament, even one that was prepared to be whipped to vote for very friendly deals towards the European Union. And we've had the irresolution of the parliamentary shenanigans for the past 2.5 years since the general election. We've been living with the consequences of that unresolved election. The key point is this. Outside the southeast, outside particularly central London and the university towns, the UKIP vote disappeared in 2017 and went back to Labour. You've got it. If the Brexit Party managed to recover some of the energy that lay behind the 2015 UKIP campaign, in which they came third, who will that cost? And the answer is not the Conservatives, whom everybody thinks are likely to suffer if Brexit Party do well. No. The Brexit Party will be feeding off the same place as UKIP did. In other words, the Labour Party. This election could easily become a holocaust for the Labour Party. The seats that I mentioned earlier, there are 35 or so seats that I mentioned out of this list that did not go Tory in 2017. Many of those are going to be up for grabs in 2019. And therefore, I'm really sorry, but as I see it, this election is already lost. Labour has thrown it away.